Welcome to another Railroads Online Showcase video. Today we are finally back on the Lake Valley playthrough, and some of you guys may be wondering what I'm even talking about, considering that I've been playing on the Lake Valley map for the past few weeks. However, others may have already recognized the building behind me or noticed how much better the game is looking and running. Yes, I'm finally back on the new PC. Took me a while to figure things out, like over 2 months. Apparently it was the CPU, and with all the issues that I've been having, that was neither the first, second, or even third thing to test for. It was really a niche and rare error that I've been facing, so yeah, fun times. With all the troubleshooting and all of that, I still kind of feel like the PC might be randomly shutting down at any moment, but that's more me not trusting the thing anymore than anything being wrong with it at this point. It should be all fine, and I hope that I won't be having to deal with anything like this ever again. So, being back on the new PC also means having the save files again, as you can clearly see right here. So today I want to start out with one simple question. In terms of Railroads Online, what's the next thing that you want me to do on my channel? What do you want to see the most in terms of the different playthroughs? The options are continuing on Pine Valley with my MIA playthrough, which is still the one that's the most developed. It was about getting finished on the old industry chain. I haven't done anything regarding the new one. There's still a mania to be built and all of that. So yeah, I definitely want to go back to that at some point. The question is, do I do so right now, or do I still wait and do something else first? The other thing that I could be doing would be continuing on the newer Lake Valley playthrough. So the one that I started a few weeks ago, it was a bit of an emergency measure because I didn't have access to anything else really, but it also grew on me and I also want to continue on that. But again, the question is, which do you want to guys see first? Third option theoretically would be this save file here, but I'm more tending towards just sunsetting it, retiring it, abandoning it, whatever you want to call it. It has some really fun things going for it, but also there are some really not so great issues that I'll be talking about in this video, and we'll get into anything regarding all of that. So if I was to continue on this one, which I'm not completely against, I would definitely have to move some industries again to way different places to make this entire thing a bit more balanced and all of that. So today I really want to go around this map and give you guys an overview of most of the things that we've done here, and also talk about what went well, what didn't go so well, and that kind of stuff. So let's get right into it, starting with the starting area. And this is just me wanting to tell you guys that on the other playthrough now, I want to add a few more buildings. Just seeing my self-made headquarters over here, I think it just adds a lot to the area by it not being just a bunch of text and a single platform. So yeah, something like this, I would maybe copy this one over to the other save file as well, and the same can be said about some other decorations. Not the telegraph poles though, since those are still not working reliably. So let's now go over to the main area where we find the smelter and the sawmill. So one of the main focuses on this playthrough was trying to build a double station over here. When I came up with the idea, I thought this would be quite interesting. First up, these industries don't have any direct dealings with each other, so it's not like one would be offering supplies to the other ones, so they are kinda independent and therefore a good match for each other in this case, since it would be really awkward just having to go back and forth with a tiny train doing deliveries from one to the other. However, initially I thought I'd be making a station that keeps operations a bit more separate, but it turned out way easier to just put all of the different text going to all the platforms all together into one, and then build a station on the other end of it. So this is what we have here, and I think my initial idea, apart from being a bit more complicated, wouldn't have anything going for it. It would be needlessly complicated and likely be a bit more convoluted and just don't do anything better. I always like to keep the runaround tracks, if I need any, close enough to the actual platform, so I don't have to go back and forth too much, and building this any different way I don't think would have helped that in any way. So this might still be the best thing I could have come up with. One thing that I want to point out in particular is this area over here. Not only do we have 72 bulkhead cars and a caboose for my cordwood train, but also in order to store all of that, I needed to put the tracks just besides the lake here. So this is smoothly following the northern shore of the lake up until that point over there, where we can already see the engine in the distance. And I just gotta say, I love how this whole thing turned out. I figured out a decent spacing between the vault track and the bridge right here, and then just kept it going. It's all either in parallel or concentrical in terms of how the radius works out. I think this is pretty cool, and this is sadly something that wouldn't be worthwhile replicating on the other save file. Overall, this is really only here because I have a smelter in this area. If the smelter was somewhere else, then this track wouldn't make any sense. But yeah, for this one, I think this is a pretty cool feature that I just love to get back to. It's nice. One other thing that I wanted to mention regarding the whole double station layout, I decided against keeping this on the other industry layout. And that is because overall I think while this idea about the double station was worth trying, I think it's better for the playthrough overall just having the smelter in a different location, so you need to actually travel there, explore that area and build its own separate station there. So that's why I didn't keep it on the other version. I don't think it's even really worth looking at the logging camp too much, but let's go there real quick. This is really similar to what we have on the other save file, just a track going around the south part of the lake, in between the lake and the mountain over here. And then at some point reaching the logging camp, which is still in the exact same location as on the other save file. Also the station layout is pretty similar in terms of the overall idea. The execution is slightly different, but that doesn't really make it too much different. I think the biggest principal difference here is that the helper engine is a wood burner, and therefore I needed a firewood depot and not a coaling tower or something like that. So yeah, it's really minuscule what we have over here compared to the other one. As far as the main hub area here is concerned, it kind of forms a roundabout, if you want to look at it like that. Theoretically, you can just run the train around in a circle over here, and nothing's really stopping you from doing that over and over. But that wouldn't really do too much in terms of having a purpose. The northern part is more of actual main line, while the southern part here is just, yeah, it's a station. Working pretty well as a general yard and also a supply area for both of those industries. Going into that direction there, we will see the freight depot. Pretty much the same thing as I had on the other save file. So not really too much to talk about there, apart from there being a bit more decoration. And all of that kind of got broken by the addition of a wheat farm and the seed pallets. So while I don't mind how the yeah, the seed bags are looking inside the waiting shed, the crane going straight through that building is a bit of an issue. So yeah, that would definitely need to be adjusted or most likely just straight up removed. But overall, I still kind of like what I did to this place, and since I'm back on the new PC with a bit more overhead in terms of what I can do in this game, I definitely want to get back in to the whole decoration part. I think that's just making things look so much better. Next up, we have the iron ore mine, and that's actually so close that I can also just fly up there. And this is a location that I really enjoyed, but I still decided against keeping it for my new playthrough, and that is down to me wanting to keep a bit of balance with my difficulty curve. This is the first industry where you really need to climb up into the mountains, and I just figured that this area was a bit too difficult to deal with. There's quite a bit of space restrictions in terms of what you can build in this little basin over here. Feels pretty wide, but if you want to keep a 60 or even just a 55 or 50 meter radius, I don't exactly know what I went with over here. Yeah, you may run into the ground slowly coming up towards the edges, and yeah, I just don't like having a grate on my stations, so I try to keep it inside here, and therefore the entire thing is a bit of a loop, with only one exit on that end going around in this direction, and also another track going further on the inside in order to store a few cars and a tiny supply area. But overall, once I finally got around to working on it like this, it turned out to be a lot of fun, and I would definitely want to include this entire thing again on the other playthrough in one way or the other. Initially, I even just wanted to copy the industry placements from over here to the new one, but I think what I'll be doing instead is I'll wait for the gold mine industry, and then once we get to the actual gold mine itself, which I hope there will be one, I'll see if I can fit that into this place, and if I can do so, that's definitely where it's gonna go. So yeah, still kinda happy about it, but just building the station in here and also trying to figure out a decent looking way down from over here, that was a bit tougher than I expected at that point, and therefore I wasn't too comfortable with keeping that around. For an industry later in the game, this would definitely not be the worst idea. And yeah, this entire track, 1.5% grading, going around almost the entire mountain, going around the entire north part, and then coming back down, yeah, somewhere over here. So yeah, the mines right now, as they are, not forgotten, but I'll need to wait for a better industry to place over there. But again, in terms of the industries that I didn't just straight up put onto the other save file as well, this is definitely my most favorite one. So since we talked about all of that, I think the next one is going to be the ironworks and the coal mine. And both of these are my biggest regrets for multiple reasons. First up, I put the ironworks way too high. It's a highly frequented industry, and it's on one of the highest places that you can have for this map, and it just really is annoying to get towards. I already talked about how much I don't like the terrain around here, and yeah, it just made laying out the track quite a pain. Also, I stupidly went with 1.5% grading in order to get up here. I went from up here down into the valley, and it means that the track is basically going from here around the outside of this little valley, then coming back around here, over here, down all the way up here. Then once we finally get to a U-turn, we come back up north and eventually end up here. And this was annoying enough before the Steam cutoff simulation, but now that all the engines have basically nerfed top speed, I don't want to deal with that. I always knew I would need to rebuild it, but again, don't like the terrain. Took me multiple days already to figure out this track layout, and I don't want to rework it, so that's kind of what killed it for me. At least that was the first thing. Actually, it was the first two things. First up, the industry was placed way too high. Secondly, the track was with way too low grading. And the third thing was that the devs also decided to move some of the rocks around. So yeah, this used to be an actual usable track, but then with the November update, the devs decided to rework some of the prop rocks that they have in here. So these are not actual part of the terrain. And that means that right now I would need a pickaxe in order to get that working again. Or just completely rework the entire track layout, which I would need to do anyways. So yeah, at 2 points, this entire thing is just not usable anymore. And once we finally get all the way up in the mountains, we will notice another problem, specifically due to this track being cut off. Right now, this is the only track connecting the industries up here to the stuff down in the valley, and before that update, I sadly drove a train up here, so this one is stuck. This needs a completely different track in order to make it back down. It's not gonna go through the rocks over there. So the moss car over here, which I still absolutely love, it's completely stuck, completely useless. Cannot do anything with it up here. I could maybe drive it over to the coal mine, but that's another kind of worms that I'll be getting into in a moment. Also, does the industry placement over here for the ironworks, apart from it being way too high up in the mountains already, as I mentioned, this area also isn't even. It's even enough to put down the industry itself, but for station building, you'll quickly run into issues where the track is just not following the ground anymore. If I kept it a bit lower, it would look a lot better, but also be a pain to deal with. So again, I don't want to have any grading on the actual stations. That means that also the area over here is kind of looking a bit ridiculous. Some of it is almost alright. Now this part in particular just looks awful. I kind of like the thing that I built below the turntable though. This is kind of turned out pretty well. I don't know where I saw this tutorial for what I built here. This is definitely from another user who basically took the 90-degree crossovers, put a lot of them together, and then on the corners just used the existing ones to place down the ballastless walls here, since those can also snap to tracks, and that makes everything work pretty well here. Definitely something that I'll be looking into using more going forward. But everything else here, it's ridiculous. Doesn't look nice, and I really stopped enjoying huge parts of the playthrough at this point. I think this track over here is for the hoppers going towards the coal mine. Not entirely sure, I completely forgot what I wanted to do with this entire area. Speaking about the coal mine though, I think we are done with the ironworks anyways. I still enjoy the look of this bridge, however. Parts of the track towards the coal mine are kinda cool in my opinion. I still like this little bit. This is just going across the northern part of this valley over here, and then splitting off into two directions. So this would be a direct way to deliver the pipes to the refinery, but you can also go off into the other direction towards the coal mine and then deliver supplies, or just go and grab some coal from over here. Also, by the way, if I was to place the ironworks in a different location, it would be somewhere over here. I think that would be perfect, and after all, the devs recently evened out the area a bit, so this is far more usable as a station. Or for a station, really. So the stuff that we have over here, again, a bit of decoration. This is a switchover station. I would get a few helper engines, most likely climaxes, and once you come in here with a road train, just park it over here, take the supply cars away from the back, turn the road engine around, and wait until everything else has been dealt with. because on this track, as you can see, limited access, I would only want there to be the specific helper engines for the station. And this is also another thing that I kinda mess up. The area is so weird to reach that I not only needed to use a 10% incline track, I also need to go down and back up again, because if I stayed maybe on something like this level over here and went straight across or even a bit higher in order to reach the top of the plateau on the other end, it would look awful from down below. You could definitely see it from the starting area and it would be an eyesore. So I decided to not do anything like that. Also, the industry placement over here. Back when I placed it, I completely forgot about the building right here. I just saw, okay, it is on the ground, that is looking good, but I completely forgot that the building is like a few meters too far off the ground to make any sense. So yeah, this definitely also needed replacement, and I would definitely try to put it somewhere else, I guess. Another thing that could have helped out here tremendously would be if I at least tried to keep the track on this side and just go further down on the side of a mountain and maybe put the switch over station somewhere over here. I also placed another coal mine right here. This is I was just scouting for a better location at this point. I wasn't really planning on using this one, but when I noticed how bad my initial location was, I kind of wanted to have something else. So this is what I started testing for right here. But so much about this one. There's the other track in the back that was supposed to go to the refinery, however that never got finished in any way. It just really ends right here. Some of the terrain is giving me grievances. I think part of the problem was that at that point the world border was also a bit further inside. Also, another thing that I wanted to quickly mention, I really don't like how the devs have announced another map already, and are actually working on 2 of them already without ever having even fixed the this incredibly ugly world border right here. This is looking so bad. And there are a lot of places from the ground where you can also see that it just... Anyways, moving on, we still have the refinery to go through. This is actually the point where the other track was supposed to connect towards, but looking at this here, you may have noticed that I'm kinda running out of mountain right here, so that's another reason why I kinda abandoned everything, because I just couldn't figure out a way to make this not look stupid. But coming up here, we already have a station prepared. It's pretty close to what I have on the MIA playthrough. It's pretty much the same principle, just in a different location here. Some tracks going off right here that would be for the bulkhead cars. And over here there's just a supply area with a bit of runoff. And this is another thing where the world border was in a different place at some point. Because I remember not being able to go much further than what we have right here. Maybe a meter or something, but it was pretty much the end somewhere around here. But right now I could actually significantly expand this because the world border is just at this point now. But yeah, the refinery never really got used on this playthrough. I just had everything set up to use it eventually, but that never really came to be. Partially because of everything regarding the Iron Verse that really threw a spanner into my wheels. And yeah, the one thing that I'm really happy about here is the track going down from the refinery. I think this is like 3% or something, and it's decently straightforward. There are a few twists and turns, but overall the way this entire area curves down, it's nice flowing hills. Definitely not able to build anything in terms of industries or yards up here, but for just building a track that goes from further down below up to the top, this is a decent area to actually go through and follow the contours. And yeah, eventually we'll make it to this point right here. And this was one of where I had some major choices to be made. Starting out, I wanted to go around, stick to the side of a hill, and eventually go the other direction. But from that point, I would likely come down somewhere before even the logging camp. And that was just way too far for any other industries that I needed to reach with this track. So I decided to just keep it going into this direction. Had a few ideas before finally settling on what we have right here. I will just make it all the way down following the side of a mountain over here. So yeah, just really didn't want to have a touchdown on the height level of the valley and then just have another kilometer or even more than that going straight before we get to actual anything interesting. I wanted to use the majority of my distance that I need to cover to also cover the height distance. And it worked out pretty well, just coming around over here and then connecting to one of the main line tracks. So yeah, in the end that's all well and good, I would say. So that's about all of the stuff that I have here. There's of course also the oil field, but I never built anything up there. So nothing else really to talk about here, I guess. And yeah, at this point, if you still want to see me continue on this playthrough, leave a few suggestions. First up, of course, tell me please if you really want to see this continued, and then let me know how really, because I definitely wouldn't be going for just continuing this as it is. I definitely would need to change quite a few things. But anyways, right now it's more likely that I'll be going on with some of the other playthroughs that I have. There are also some really cool things that I still can do up there, and yeah, really looking forward to all of that. So I hope this was interesting. Hope you enjoyed. Have a good time, and till next time. Bye bye.